Lista Stadium as Australia and Fiji take the field in the first of the Cup semi-finals. And it's just a marvellous scene here. Yope, Sailosi, Raunge, Ferro at scrum half here for Fiji. And there's the Australian lineup. Richard Graham is back in action after having a corked knee. And Julian Huxley is a guy who's impressed, as has Brendan Williams, the leading try scorer in the tournament. And with me is Keith Gwynn.
Try to imagine this, Gordon, before the game start back home in Suva, cars roaring around the town in Suva and the other towns of Fiji, tooting their horns, confident of victory here.
So Serevi gets proceedings underway, and Sam Payne in possession for Australia. Both of these sides unbeaten in the tournament. Australia lost to Fiji in the Cup, or in the semis, in Durban and Dubai. And there's an intercept. Oh, a wild pass has put the Australians under heavy pressure here. But they come away through Payne. That's McDonald with him. Not a loose pass, just a bit of panic from the Australians early on. And a scrum here for Fiji. So this is the intense part. This is the World Cup, Keith.
Well, I think what we're going to see here is the test of young Thao. He was nearly away for an intercept, but Australia's defence is very well organised. We've seen that throughout the tour, throughout the tournament, and this is the biggest test for them.
So Australia come away. This is McDonald. Through the dummy. And he's made a strong break here. Australia form the ruck. And bridging there against the Australians. The player came in over the tackled player. The referee says that's equivalent to lying on the ground. Serevi now goes for Fiji. Ferro in support. This is Raunge. And Yope, the big fellow, dropped it back. This is Bruce Raunge to Serevi. Well, it's close marking defence, but Fiji have 2-on-2 here. A big tackle by Graham. There he goes, Thao. He's blistering. What a start.
He's amazing. What a start, Gordon. The confidence, the sheer confidence of Rupeni Thao and grabbing it, running it in with one hand and putting it down.
So Brendan Williams did his best. Rob McDonald couldn't put him to ground, but he is just so elusive. He glides across the turf.
Look at this. Carried it in one hand, which is risky, but he's got enormous skill. Rupeni Thao, 20 years of age. What a beginning for Fiji.
Well, the Australians really paying the penalty early on for probably not having a really tough game. They've cruised through their pool matches and also the quarterfinals. And just not reacting under pressure there early on. Here's Sam Payne. And Graham, the captain. This is Huxley, a nice step. Fijians making their tackles. And McDonald setting it on the 22. Huxley spots a gap. Williams in support here. Serevi there. And the chase is on. Let's see how quick Serevi is here. Williams. And the referee has ruled Australia there in front of the kicker, I believe.
Andy Turner from South Africa. I thought we were going to see there Serevi having to make a tackle for the first time in the tournament. He's made very few attempts at tackles, and that was a pressure situation for him.
Well, that's a huge setback for the Australians after looking as though they could score the try. A man in front of the kicker. Pither in for the tackle. And this is the big number 3, Raunge. I don't think anyone's going to catch him. Look at those giant strides. Second try for Fiji.
Oh, they've come to play here in this game. Slow build-up from Fiji throughout the tournament. What was unusual about this try was the angle that Raunge ran on. It's from near one touchline running for right across the 50-metre dash to the other corner.
So 2 critical decisions have gone against the Australians. One, a penalty for bridging at the tackle when they were hot on attack. The second, a penalty as Raunge scores a slashing try out wide the second time, and it could well be a 14-point turnaround for being in front of the kicker. So 2 critical penalties, taking the stuffing out of Australia early on. And Fiji white hot.
And 2 critical conversions too to make it 14-0.
Here's Champagne. Can the Australians claw it back from here? It's a huge ask. Williams out wide. It's Alan McDonald. And that player was offside. So Australia really does have to hit back here. Williams, the little zip-zip man, has been in superlative form. But again, a drop pass, something we haven't seen from the Australians in this tournament.
Disappointment there for McDonald to drop that one because they're away, and that looked promising. So no chance yet to really get Williams into running form. Top try scorer in the tournament so far.
Yes, 12 tries in the tournament for Brendan Williams. And Andy Turner from South Africa just getting things set, but Australia's defence to be tested here again. Fijians have just looked so cool here in this semi-final, and that's a crooked feed.
And that's one of the disappointments of the tournament, the number of times the referees have stopped play at the scrums.
Well, if Australia's to have any hope, they have to score a try. They've got to get back in contact with Fiji. This is Graham. Huxley stood in the tackle for Williams. Graham chasing, so is Williams. Williams gets it. His 13th try. Will it be 13 lucky for Australia? Well, there was a little suspicion that Graham may have got a finger on that and tapped the ball ahead.
That's what I thought. Whether it went ahead, let's have a look at this. We may not see. We'll see if he gets a finger on it. Well, it went behind.
So the referees ruled he tapped it backwards. Very skillful play by Richard Graham. Yes, he did indeed.
Deliberately so.
Well, Graham has, Keith, you've seen him in Durban and Dubai. He's been outstanding.
Yes, he's a great player, and he's an excellent leader as well. And that was inspirational play, so skillful by the captain there.
No conversion though for Australia. But importantly, they're on the scoreboard, trailing by 14-5. This is where Serevi is just dynamite with those conversions. Australians trailing by 9. We're into extra time now in the first half. Well, he was unopposed there, the big fella, Waunge. Pitha trying to pinch it. Play on, says the referee. Australia have it. That's McDonald to Pitha. Another one coming up. Oh, that's a beautiful reply there from Richard Graham, the skipper. They're looking round to see if there's any word from the referee. There's not. And yes, the men in gold are back in business.
Well, that one was a surprise. It was a shock in a sense, because Fiji were not at home. They were with it. They weren't within any part of the build-up to the try. Look at this. The Fijians just disappear from the action.
Yes, well, McDonald pinched that ball at the tackle. Pitha was there. One-handed offload to Graham. As Keith Quinn told you, nobody at home, so Australia right back in it, trailing by 2 at halftime. Fiji 14, Australia 12.
And yesterday and the day before, Richard Graham had the tightest bandage around his knee and was hobbling so severely you'd have thought he wouldn't have played for a fortnight. And here he is, running in a try after making one, the captain of Australia, and they've closed it up at halftime as the cauldron comes to life here in Mar del Plata, Argentina. Do you think Argentinian people like seven-a-side rugby, Gordon?
There's Rupini, who took their triumph in 1997. I think they're having a passionate love affair with seven-a-side rugby. Well, there's no chance of hearing what Rupini had to say there to the Fijians, but he would be disappointed that they let in 2 tries. So Australia is back in contact. and certainly in a great position now to forge a win and advance to the final against the #1 seeds. Let's see Fiji's character and class, which we know is so grand. So Julian Huxley is coming up, but the stadium would appear to have over 30,000 fans here now, maybe just under, but it's a terrific atmosphere. And this is cutthroat time. This is knockout time for Fiji and Australia in the first Cup semi-final. Second match, Argentina-New Zealand, and that's going to be something else with this partisan home support. A big ask for New Zealand, who were simply sensational, 45-7 in their quarter-final against Samoa. Argentina home against South Africa by 14-12. So who wants it the most? Which side is most hungry? Fiji, Raunge and Sorevi. Oh, what a dummy. We haven't seen him run in the whole tournament. Trying to link up now. He's underplayed his hand. There has been a suspicion he's had a bit of an injury, but a clean break there by Sorevi. Here's Williams. Sailosi is there. Australia come away. That's Cameron Pither trying to get it back, and a mistake there by Fiji. Pither just getting a little clip in the head accidentally from one of the Fijian boots. Here's a big tackle on Huxley. Great play there by Vunimbaka. Australia to test Fiji here. They're missing those first-time tackles. McDonald, who's had a storming match so far. Payne to Pither. This is Graham, the captain. Just happy to go to ground. He must release. Well, Fiji now through Sorevi and Tautau. Off the knees, knock on both ways. First one by Fiji. That was harassing defence, Keith Quinn.
Yes, indeed. It's tough and it's tight, and here is Marika Vunimbaka down and not looking too happy. Stop the game for a moment. On comes, well, the trainer coming on for Fiji is Al Korabu. Remember, Al Korabu was the Commonwealth heavyweight boxing champion. He's come on, as he's done right throughout recent times, for Fiji Sevens rugby. And Marika, one of their great runners, who was last night named Fiji Sportsman of the Year, is in a bit of bother, looking to the sideline.
Well, this would be a crushing blow for Fiji, and but what a replacement they have here in Vilimoni De La Salle, the #8 to come on, Glenn Ella. Julian Gardner there on the right, an Australian Sevens representative in Hong Kong, and a dual international for the Wallabies and Italy is the manager of the team. But De La Salle is on, so there's some blistering speed out there, Keith.
Well, it's a question of who's on and who's not on, because at the moment Fiji have 8 players on the field, because Daniela's gone on as well. Looks like Marika is going off. The golf cart carrier for severe injuries is out. There's Johnny Buakula, the manager.
I think Daniela's just carrying the drinks, so he's assisting Vunimbaka, but this is a shattering blow for Fiji. They've got to hit back from here, but they do have their noses in front. But looking at the performances of these two sides, Australia has piled up 205 to 27. They've conceded only 5 tries in the tournament. Fiji did it tough against a fiercely committed Canadian side in the quarter-final. They've scored 28 tries. A 10-time winner of the Hong Kong Sevens, and Keith, this is I could imagine what the feeling is like back in Fiji at the moment, seeing this terrible sight for their great champion, Vunimbaka.
Their Sportsman of the Year, and that is a tragic sight for him. I didn't see how it happened. But away he goes. And let's see how they go without their great star. But number 8 down here in the foreground, Filimoni de la Salle. Remember last season on the world circuit when Fiji were right up there in contention at the last, he scored 82 tries, 40 more than anyone else on the circuit.
Yes, well, the Australians know that only too well. It's a scary sight to see him here as a midfielder. And this is Huxley, a neat stepper. Stands up his man, de la Salle. Williams looming. Forward pass, Serevi to counter quickly. So Fiji wanting to get on with it. Jope. Here we go. De la Salle. Even Williams. Oh, he ankle tapped him. Will that be a match winner? Williams picks up the ball. Trying to get it to ground. Fiji must stay on side here. Pitha cleared it to Payne. Straight through. Payne now. Australia have some numbers on the left, but Payne not able to get rid of that ball. Pitha, manhandled. So strong. Just short of halfway. Australia clear it left again. Richard Graham. Payne trying to step round Serevi. He couldn't, but Fiji offsides.
Substitution coming on for Australia. Scott Barton coming on.
Here's Williams. Australia clear it out, but don't have the supports. Now they do. Richard Graham. Oh, brilliant try by the skipper. Well, how about that offload by Rob McDonald? He's the one who made the bust. And Richard Graham, who's had 2 days of intensive physiotherapy, gets his second try in the tournament.
He's come off the canvas and has scored a brilliant try, his second in the match, and the Aussies have the lead.
Rob McDonald has been one of the unsung heroes, really, in this tournament. But the youngster from the Souths Club in Brisbane, the premiership team, the championship team, look at his skills here. You must release immediately, and Graham with perfect support. Well, there's only 3 points the difference. And just wide, a valiant attempt there with the conversion.
Here are the last stages of this wonderful run by Richard Graham for the try. But my mind goes back to a sevens match in Brisbane last year between Fiji and Australia, where Australia had the lead until the last seconds of the game, when a fellow called Serevi won it with a wonderful sprint up the field to win it in the last seconds for Fiji and take the Brisbane Sevens title. Now, Serevi's here. Two great teams. There's the hooter for the end of the game.
They've held him up here, I think. Fiji trying to take it forward. Will it be a turnover? There has been a lot of extra time, though, for stoppages and injuries. So, what a gripping situation here. The number 1 seeds in dire trouble, Australia, with a set-piece move here from the scrum.
The Aussies were asking the referee about the time, and I think he's telling them there's a bit of extra time to be added on.
A tight head to Fiji. But Australia still get the scrum feed. Andy Turner from South Africa, the man in charge. So dramatic scenes here. Both Fiji and Australia, their supporters watching on with bated breath. Here's Williams, ankle tapped. This is Barton. And the referee has penalised Fiji again. It may have been over aggression in the tackle by Daniela Ngongao, who plays with the Warringah club, along with his twin Sekeli. So Australia happy to slow things down. Nearly a minute and a half of extra time. A try here would win it for Australia and put them in the final. Now this is where Fiji will try and pilfer at the line out, although Australia's throwing.
Well, they've got Tall Timber there and Raungay and Salosi. They have height advantage, so let's see what Australia can cook up.
Oh, Raungay has been penalised for pulling down Richard Graham, pulling the jumper down. Australia going for another line out.
Oh,
this one 2 meters out, Keith.
It's great tactical stuff. They've got the Fijians rattled. Now the Fijians will have to play this line out clean, as it were.
2 minutes and 10 seconds of injury time. Graham again. Fiji got a hand on it. Here's the try. There's the clincher. McDonald. And the defending champions are out of the tournament. Julian Gardner. Also Glenella. Embrace. Robert McDonald, his second try. He's been Australia's best in this critical semi-final.
Well, it was the 2 kicks to touch, I reckon, for the 2 lineouts from penalties that gave Australia the chances for those set pieces. A nice sharp pass by Sam Payne to McDonald, and look at that smile. It's going to pitch the Aussies into the final.
Yes, he and skipper Richard Graham absolutely outstanding, and the Aussies are now out of sight. 8 points ahead, even a converted try not enough now for Fiji.
So back home in Fiji there'll be devastation at this. They have lost their World Championship, which they won in 1997.
Well, we've had nearly 3.5 minutes of extra time. Serevi, it's all or nothing for Fiji. The big man out wide is Thalthal. Oh, he's ankle tapped. We've seen a couple of those. And the ball thrown into touch. There's the final whistle. Confirmation that the Hot Pots, Fiji, the defending championship team, is out of the tournament. Australia 22, Fiji 12. Australia scoring 22 points in a row to advance to the Cup final.
It's a great victory. A great victory. Fiji were considered by many to be the favourites for the tournament, but the Aussies have come through in a superb fashion to tip them out, and deservedly so. And now the question is, who will they play in the final? Will they play New Zealand and make it a trans-Tasman clash, or will they play against the might of Argentina?